God's got this. When I don't know how to fix one thing, when I'm breaking under all this weight I bring, He's still holding every tear that hits my face. God's got this. When I'm standing in a fire I can't see past, when the good days fade and the bad ones last, even when my faith feels smaller than my fist, God's got this.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the God's Got This podcast. Hopefully today we actually get this one recorded and posted. I think we've done 3 or 4 now that there's been some technical difficulties on our end, and so hopefully we've got it lined out, because I think today's guest seems like a cool dude. A story that I'd like to get out. Someone that can impact somebody's life. And so we don't know each other. We actually this is the first time we've talked face to face. But I came across one of his videos on TikTok, and he was talking about the Bible, and so I started creeping him, and saw a video of him talking about his injury, and just another story of giving the glory to God, even though it may be not a good circumstance. And so, I reached out to him, and he was willing to do this. And so, I was telling him I like it. There's so much fake in the world that we see, especially on social media and stuff. And so, part of the reason that I wanted to do a podcast was because I wanted it to be real. And I wanted it to be genuine, just raw conversation. And so, what better way to do that than to literally not meet somebody until you're recording live, and that's as real of a conversation as you can have, I guess. Again, I think this is going to be a good one. And so, Harley, man, appreciate you. Thank you for taking time out of your day to do this. And man, I'll just let you introduce yourself a little bit, and then we'll get rolling.
Well, I'm Harley. I'm 29 years old. I live in Chakota, Oklahoma. Lived in Oklahoma my whole life. I've been paralyzed for 13 years now. Still working out, doing everything, and just do it sitting down.
Yeah, I think that was the first video, or one of the first videos I saw where you were in the gym just getting after it. That's pretty cool. What? So you're from Chakota? Is that what you said?
So I went to school in Chakota until 5th grade.
Okay.
Then I transferred to Muskogee, and I graduated from Muskogee.
Okay. So you're just an Oklahoma boy. That was also something when we were trying to plan this out, I was like, can we do it 2:30 my time? And then we're like, oh, we're both from Oklahoma, so
yeah,
it's 2:30 our time.
Yeah.
So Harley, what was it like growing up? You know, like were you in church? What was your background kind of like as a kid?
I went to church as a kid, not every Sunday, not every Wednesday. I went to a little church outside of town here. It's called Brush Hill Baptist. And then when I moved to Muskogee, my stepmom and my dad weren't real religious. My stepmom would take us sometimes to a church called Calvary Baptist in Muskogee, but other than that, I wasn't a real big churchgoer. Yeah. And then I started going to the church I go to now, Granite Station Cowboy Church here in town, a year ago. And I very rarely miss a service.
Yeah. What was what were some things like as a kid? Were you into athletics? Were you into anything like that? Or
Man, football, hunting, fishing, just being outside.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I figured I figured we'd get along. Just from some of your TikTok videos, I figured that we had a lot in common. Um,
Yeah,
so you moved to you're at Shakota, then you moved where?
Muskogee
In what grade? Fifth grade?
after fifth grade.
After fifth grade. So pretty much like junior, like well, almost going into junior high. What? So what was the? You just went to Muskogee just to go?
My dad got a job up there, so we
Okay.
moved up there for his job.
Yeah. Okay. So you said mom and step or dad and stepmom, or when did your parents split?
It was around 2006, 2007, somewhere in there.
So you were
Yeah,
pretty young.
yeah.
What was that like?
I don't remember it too much.
Yeah.
Uh,
How old were
honestly, I was I was 9 or 10 when they
you? Yeah.
got divorced. Yeah.
Yeah, that is young. All right, so let's get to it. So how did your injury happen?
So I got hurt March 6, 2013. I played football for Muskogee. I was at the time I was a tight end, and we were in off-season football, and they were switching me from tight end to center. So I stayed after our off-season workouts to practice snapping the ball. So I checked the ball out from one of my coaches, and he said that he wants me to check it back in. Well, I get done doing my work, and I'm sitting in the office waiting for him because he's in a meeting with another player. And an older kid comes in. I was a sophomore. I believe he was a junior. And he wants the football I had, and I wouldn't give it to him. So I go to the locker room to start getting dressed. That way, maybe the coach is done with the meeting after I get dressed. And I didn't know it, but that kid had followed me, and he came up behind me, and he picked me up over his head and slammed me, and it broke my neck in 3 places.
Holy cow! Over a football.
Yeah.
Wow. So did you go unconscious or do you remember?
I started going in and out of consciousness and in shock about the time the EMS got there. Yeah.
So
So,
do you remember any of the after effect? Like
oh, yeah. Yeah.
so when you
So, I
got
mean,
slammed, what was it? What
I
was it?
mean, as soon as I hit the ground, I knew something wasn't wrong because my entire body, I just couldn't feel anything. The only thing I could feel was just I mean, to this day, it's the worst pain I've ever felt right here at my C6 vertebrae.
Yeah.
Um, I remember that he picked me up and like kind of propped me up against the bench that went around the lockers, the cement bench. I remember asking him to go get a coach, and he wouldn't do it because I mean I was 16, so he was 17. He was scared too. He was just a kid as well. Um, and I remember other players coming in, and they went and got coaches, and then they went and got the trainer, the athletic trainer, and she stabilized my neck and everything. And then the EMS rolls in, and that's when I start drifting in and out.
Wow. So where'd you go after when EMS got there?
So we went to the Muskogee. At the time, it was East Star. It was just the hospital in Muskogee. We went to the emergency room, and then I was life flighted from Muskogee to Tulsa, St. Francis.
Yeah. What
I was in St. Francis until March 29th, and then I got sent to Chicago.
what like a rehab hospital in Chicago?
Yeah, so I went to a Shriners Hospital for Kids in Chicago. They specialize in uh, spinal cord injuries and people with wheelchairs.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool. I went to Craig Hospital in Denver. Have you ever
yeah,
heard of
yeah,
I was wondering if maybe you went there because I know there's a lot of that's kind of like one of the top ones. So
yeah. From what I've heard, it's the gold standard.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool. We just went back from my yearly reevaluation last week, 2 weeks ago. Um, but man, it's amazing. Uh, so I noticed you've got the trach scar. Is that what that is down there?
Yeah,
So
I was on a vent for a couple months.
really, a couple months.
Yeah,
How long? So how long were you at the first hospital in Muskogee?
I was. It couldn't have been more than an hour before I got life flighted.
Oh yeah, okay. So you got that's what I meant. The one in Tulsa. How long were you there?
So I got sent there from Muskogee the same day I got hurt, March 6th, and then I was in intensive care up there until March 29th, and I got sent to Chicago on March 29th.
How long were you in Chicago?
I was there until June 21st, so almost 3 months.
Yeah, that's about how long I was in Colorado. So so you lost the ability to breathe. I'm assuming since you got
Yeah, I remember that very vivid.
oh here.
I was laying there, I was laying in the hospital bed, and I just could not get a deep breath for anything, and I kept telling the nurse like, "Hey, I'm having like I can't breathe, I can't breathe." And she's checking my O2 and everything. She said, "Well, your numbers are fine. You're probably having a panic attack." And then that's the last thing I remember. My right lung collapsed, and they put me on the vent.
Wow. What so what was your do you know what your parents were like was your family do you have a big family?
Not too big.
What was your support like? Was there a bunch of people?
Yeah, they would come up there and visit when I was in Tulsa. I had my football coaches come visit a lot. And then whenever I got sent to Chicago, my parents, well, my dad and stepmom stayed with me. And then my dad had to go back to work, so my stepmom came with her. So I was there by myself for a little bit. But my coaches came up for a few days. A couple of them came up and visited with me.
That's cool. That's cool. I don't know. I coach. I coach junior high baseball and high school softball, and I want to be. That's what I want to be. I want to more than teaching the game. I want to be someone that like that. They went up. They went up to Chicago. Yeah, so I want to love. I mean, I'm sure they sound like they were good coaches or at least good people. That's the kind of people I want to impact and actually have genuine relationship with my kids, and that's kind of what that's mainly what I got into it for, was to do stuff like that. And uh, so what was your stay in Chicago like?
It wasn't terrible. Um, it's a lot different up there than it is here.
Yeah, oh yeah,
But I mean, the actual rehab was, I mean, it was top notch. It was pretty great. The actual rehab part.
and then so what? So you've got pretty good arm function, right? Was it like that the whole time, or has it?
No, I could always move them, but I couldn't control the movement. So they actually had to restrain me in the hospital bed because I would go to move my arm like this and it would just fly. So I mean, I couldn't tell you how long I couldn't feel anything from my neck down, and then it just came back little by little.
Huh? Did the
Um,
did the guy that slammed you? Did he ever come see you? Or
so I saw him one time after I got hurt. So I got hurt the end of my sophomore year. It was either the first or second day of my junior year. Um, I was sitting in the cafeteria between classes talking to a couple of my coaches, and he comes up beside me, he puts his arm around me, says I love you, and then he walks off. And that's the only interaction I've had with him since.
how was that? What
It
was
was
your
it was
reaction?
awkward.
Yeah,
It was awkward.
I bet. What was your thoughts when just I love you and then
I don't know. I just thought it was weird.
yeah,
Like that's what I was thinking. I was like, that was weird.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of strange.
Yeah.
So you're what, 14 when you get hurt? 14.
I turned 16 the day
Oh,
2 weeks before I got hurt.
so you're 16 years old. What was your relationship with Christ like in this moment of time?
I was involved with FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, so I was a believer. I just wasn't a church Christian, is what the best way I could say it. I wasn't going to church. I believed there was a God. I prayed every night, but it wasn't it wasn't what it is today.
Yeah. So at what point, what is there like a certain point in your life where something happened and made it
Yeah.
quit?
So I actually lost my faith for a little bit after I got hurt. Probably 2 to 3 years. I became real cynical, real depressed. Um, and my thought process at the time was, if there was a God, this wouldn't have happened. So it was either the end of 2016 or right at the beginning of 2017. I was gonna take my own life. Um, I had my rifle sitting there. I was gonna grab it, and I was gonna do it. And something told me to text my best friend, Thomas, and he worked swing shifts at the time, and he was always asleep by 9:30, 10 o'clock. And it was either close to midnight or past midnight. And I texted him and I said, "Hey, are you awake?" And he said, "Yeah, what's up?" I told myself, if he messages back, I'm going to talk to him about it. If he doesn't, I'm going to do it. And he messaged back. So uh, I told him what was going on, and he was staying about 45 minutes away. He only lived about 15 minutes down the road, but he was 45 minutes away out camping at the lake, I believe. And he got to my house in 10 minutes. And after that night, my faith started coming back.
So Thomas was a believer.
No, not necessarily, but uh, something told me to text him. Even though I knew he would be asleep, something told me to text him, and I did, and he was awake. So, yeah,
That's pretty amazing.
yeah,
You and Thomas still buddies?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Man, wow. That gave me chills because it's not. Well, it was definitely God.
yeah.
Telling you to text him and then for him to be awake. I mean that's just a miracle, right?
It definitely was.
Huh. So this was what you said 2016, 2017.
Yeah, I think it was either January or February of 2017.
Okay. And then so from then on your relationship you start taking your faith serious?
Yeah, there was highs and lows, but I mean, I never lost my faith again. I mean, I from that moment on, I knew that there was a God. He was working, and I mean, right now it's the strongest it's ever been.
Yeah. I can tell that by your TikTok videos.
Yeah.
So what was your before so when you got hurt, what did you have plans like what your future was going to be or
Yeah, I planned on trying to play college ball, and if not, I was going to join the military.
yeah.
I actually talked to a couple recruiters. It's probably a month or two before I got hurt because we had a job fair at the high school, and I talked to Navy and Army recruiters.
Hmm. That's what so you had plans of like Navy and Army like football or
No, just
oh
just
just
enlisting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have any looks in football?
I had Oklahoma Baptist.
Yeah.
They had sent me some letters, and that's about it. I was a sophomore. I never played a single snap on varsity Friday nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that had to have been Well, I know that was a terrible thing to happen at such a young age. And you said you were thinking there can't be a God if this would happen to me.
Yeah.
That's that would be a normal thing to think when you think.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of the number one question of a non-believer. You know, why do bad things happen to good people? What do you have an answer for that?
Well, yeah, I do.
Let's hear it.
I believe it's in Romans chapter 8. Um, it's either 5 or 8.
Okay.
Paul's telling us that God is going to use suffering and hardships to build character, which builds endurance, which is going to, in turn, build your faith because you're going to turn to God more. I believe that's Romans chapter 5 or 8. But I can't find a single verse in the Bible that he tells us is going to be easy and that we're going to have a perfect life. But there's I can't tell you how many Bible verses that tell us that as long as we're chasing God and we're following Christ, that He'll be there with us to get us through it.
So when you when you were taken back to 16 when you got hurt and you said there's not a God, what'd you do to get through? Did you like venture into things of the world or
Well, when I went to college, I was drinking a lot.
okay.
Uh,
So you did go to college. You got
yeah,
hurt.
yeah. I went to Northeastern State in Tahlequah for a year,
Okay.
and then I actually just got back into college because they messed up my withdrawal papers. They didn't get filed, so I owed them for a semester that I didn't attend. So I got that paid off a few years ago, and I've been in college. I go TCC online. Uh, I'm about. I have one class that I have to do to get my associates in history.
Okay.
So I'm taking that math class this semester.
Okay. All right. So you go to college, you start drinking a little bit, then what?
And then after that year of college, I move out. Where I met Thomas, it's a place called Hitchita. It sits right in between Henrietta and Shakota. And at first, it was like a prison because it's way out in the middle of nowhere. I can't get around. I can't do anything. And then I meet Thomas, and he's like, "No, dude, we're gonna figure out how to do all the stuff you used to do. You're just gonna do it sitting down." So, I get back into fishing. I get back into hunting. I get back into shooting guns, just being outside, and that kind of starts to bring me back to life.
Wow. This Thomas guy, he seems like he's a good dude.
He is.
That's awesome. I've got I've got friends like that too. I've got good friends too. So at your hospital, they didn't help you with any of that kind of stuff. Like,
So they do at the Shriners Hospital in Chicago. They do a field trip for all the patients, and I told them, I said, if we're not going to go fishing, then I'm not going to go.
yeah,
So we went fishing, and no, they didn't really try to figure out how I could cast a pole with tenodesis hands or anything like that. They really just took us out there and we sat.
yeah.
Yeah.
What? Explain what Tina Deesa's hand is for the people listening.
So basically, if I want to pick something up, I have to bend my wrist back like that to close my fingers. If I want to drop something, I have to do like that with my wrist to open my fingers. I have very limited finger movement. I can extend some, but I can't curl them at all to make like a fist or to grip.
And has it been like that since you got hurt?
The second I got hurt, it was like that. Like I figured that out laying on the floor in the locker room.
Huh. Wow, that's pretty amazing though. So your buddy Thomas helped you figure out how do you hunt?
We just when we were living out there by each other, he would literally put me on his back, carry me, and he's like 5'7". I'm 6'3", 6'4". So my legs would be dragging behind him, but he'd backpack me to the blind, set me down in a lawn chair, and I'd sit there with a crossbow on it's not a bog death grip. It's kind of like one. It doesn't have the clamp though, or a rifle on that tripod.
So how do you pull the trigger?
Um, I really just put my entire finger through, and then I do my wrist like this, pull the trigger.
Your wrist like what? I couldn't. It wasn't. I couldn't see it.
I just put my entire finger through the trigger guard, and I just pull back like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about fishing? How does that work?
I can throw a bait caster like nobody else now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have problems with spinning reels, so I primarily stick to bait casters.
Wow. That's pretty cool, huh? That's what it's like for me. Is I got hurt, which mine was a baseball. I don't know if you know about my accident, but mine was a baseball accident. So I was in right field. There was a fly ball hit. I collided with my center fielder, and that's how I got hurt. And so I'm a C3 complete. So pretty much below anything below my shoulders, uh, I don't have much function below there. And so, but I was a college baseball player, loved the outdoors, hunt and fish, and love and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of thought my life was over, and that there would not be any of that available. But that's one of the great things about Craig is like as soon as I got there, uh, I started going to therapies, and they're showing me ways to hunt. I've got like a sip and puff uh, gun mount that I can use. Um, haven't figured out fishing yet. They figure out how to reel in, but there's
Yeah.
no way to cast with the sip
Yeah.
and puff mechanism. So, but there's ways to do it. There's ways to do it. It just looks a little different, like you said. I just do it all setting down. So, okay, all right. I got a question. This may get kind of deep. So, the guy that slammed you,
Mm-hmm.
have you forgiven him?
Well, yeah, I forgave him probably around 2017.
So it took a while.
Yeah, it took about 4 years.
What? How did you get to the point of forgiveness?
Really, I just started living how I used to live and doing everything sitting down. And I realized that if you hold on to that anger and that resentment and that hatred, it's just going to burn you up. And I mean, I wasn't a good person to be around. I was cynical. I was hateful. I was the pity party, woe is me person, feel sorry for me. And it just it just wasn't a way to live. So once you let go of that and you stop holding on to what people did to you, I mean, you start living a pretty much a better life.
That's good. That's good. So what do you do now?
So right now I work for a company called Options. I am a job coach for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So what we do out there is we have a recycling plant, and our clients work the recycling plant, and we teach them job skills so that maybe one day they could work in the community. And I also have my own mowing business.
All right, I saw that. How? So like me, if I'm out in the sun for too long, I get I get overheated and stuff. How do you do it? You don't
So
do
the,
that, or
no, I do. I mean, I do. But the best way that because we can't regulate our body temperature. Um, so we can't sweat to cool ourselves down. So the best way I've found to do that is to just make your own sweat. So I dump water on myself constantly.
really?
Yeah, I carry a gallon or a half gallon, um, like one of those steel cups, and I just keep it full of ice water and I dump it on myself. And then whenever that runs out, I have bottles of water to refill it because the ice stays in there. I mean, it doesn't melt. It keeps it cold for a long time.
Yeah.
Just dump water on yourself.
That's nice to know because, like, coaching, especially right now, it's so dang hot.
Yeah.
Which it's a little different. I'm in a power chair, so I can't really
Yeah.
just dump water all over.
Well, I'm in a power chair too. I dump it on me.
Are you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I just lean my head back and let it run down my hair.
Really?
Yeah.
I may have to try that trick out.
And those frog tog neck, you you soak them in water and then you wring them out and they stay cool.
Yeah.
I keep one around my neck sometimes. Um, and I can do good outside if I'm not in the direct sunlight for long. Like if I go sit in the shade for a few minutes,
Yep.
I'm fine. But if I'm in the direct heat where it's just beating down on me, then I start getting overheated and I start pouring water on myself.
Huh. That's cool. That's nice. That's a nice trick. I've got it's like looks like a cooler, like an ice chest. And
Yeah.
It's got a vent on it that blows cold air from inside to there. I've tried that. But in direct sunlight, there's nothing really you can do. It's just too hot.
Yeah. There's not enough water in the world.
Yeah. All right, man. So, this is a faith based podcast. You talk a lot about your faith on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give somebody who's finds themselves in a crappy situation, and somebody asks you, they say, like how you were when you first got hurt, how can you say there's a God? How would you answer that question?
I would quote Romans 5:3-5, and it says, "We can rejoice too when we run into problems and trials, for we know that they help us develop endurance, and endurance develops strength of character, and character strengthens our confident hope of salvation. And this hope will not lead to disappointment, for we know how dearly God loves us, because he has given us the Holy Spirit to fill our hearts with this love."
Wow, that's good. That's good. And so you live by that?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good one to live by. Man, I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Anything else you want to share, or anything I haven't hit on that you know of, that you can think of?
You hit all the major ones.
Yeah. It's all. We're still here for a purpose. We're here for
We
a
are.
And I lived in Colorado for a few months with a bunch of people that had the mindset that you did after you got hurt. That how can there be a God? And and they kind of had that. There's nothing else. There's nothing living for, and so that's a bad way to live. I mean, it's not a fun way to live for sure. It's an upsetting way to live.
Yeah.
And so, man, I believe there's a purpose. I believe, and I know you do too, that there's a higher purpose for us to be here.
There is. I believe that our purpose is to show people that you can live a good life. You can do all the things you used to do. You just do them from a wheelchair. So no matter what adversity you go through, you can get through it.
Yep, you can get through it. All right, man. And nothing else? Nothing else you want to hit on? You want to share or anything like that?
Not that I can think of.
All right, man. Well, Harley, I appreciate you doing this. It was nice to meet you. Nice to
You
get
as
to
well.
guys, for you listening, if this can encourage anybody, That's the reason I do it. That's the reason Harley does it, is just to spread God's word and His love. And if there's any part of this that you think someone could benefit from hearing, share it with them. That's what it's all about. It's just growing the kingdom. And so thank y'all for listening. We love you, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you have questions, ask them in the comments and I will answer them on the next episode. If you are wanting to reach me for a speaking engagement, you can reach out through either the God's Got This Facebook page or my email that is in the podcast description. Thanks again, and remember that no matter what you are going through in life, you can always find peace in the fact that God's got this.